education.
The contact with the family is growing. First it was only on email with the oldest sister of Eline, Ishin. One time she asked us if we had a QQ account. That was not the case yet, so she created a QQ account for us. Now we can chat with each other on QQ, which is the Chinese equivalent of MSN. And also we chat with the father and the second sister. They have QQ on their mobile phones. At other times, Eline will say at some moment, I want to talk with my father. Then we call her father or her sister. At that moment, it is sufficient to hear each other's voices. The language barrier still prevents a real conversation. We can see each other on QQ by means of the webcams, so we also have visual contact. And during one of these sessions, Ishin had to make a confession. Her mother gave birth to a baby girl in 2006, just before they met us for the first time. They were too scared to tell us, and they feared our possible reaction on this. On the other hand, they wanted to see Eline so badly. They were afraid that all the attention would go to the baby girl, who was still not formally registered at that moment. But Eline was very happy to have a little sister. And during our visit in 2009, we discussed this issue with the family, and we told them that we hoped there would be no more surprises. And 2 months later, a Chinese-American documentary maker, Dr. Chang Fu Chang of Millersville University of Pennsylvania, visited the family too. We were working together in making another documentary about searching bird families in China. We had seen his footage, and the first thing Eline said was, "My mother is so fat." I told her that this was because of the filming, widescreen and so on, you know. But in December 2009, we were told that mother had given birth to a son. When we were in China, mother had been 5 months pregnant. So much for the talk. And when Dr. Chang visited them, she had been 7 months pregnant. But none of us had noticed it, only Eline. My mother looked so fat. But hearing her reaction, we realized that wanting a daughter, needing a son, from the book of Kate Johnson, was really the matter for this family. Realizing this, we were happy for the family. They really needed a son. Also this year in December, end of December, Eline and Wilma will visit Chongqing to meet the family again. Eline has not seen her brother yet, and he's already 2 years old. Also, they will go to the schools to visit the children whom we are supporting. Our foundation started to support children at the Mingjia Junior High School in Dachshund. Now we support 8 children at this school. And after finishing junior high school, 3 years, the children will go to senior high school. And at the Fuling Senior High School, we support 4 children. We are a small foundation, but we really would like to grow. And we hope we can continue doing the work for the foundation, but therefore we need to have sponsors and donations. I'm sorry. And this year, Dr. Chang finished his documentaries, Daughter's Return and Sophia's Journey. They're on the desk there. And we want to give more people an insight in what can happen if you start a search for birth families, parents in China. We do realize that our story is indeed the most successful or the most positive. On the other hand, not everything is always going on so well. I think when you want to search for birth parents in China, you have to lose a lot of yourself. You have to let go of your Western way of thinking and think how it would be for you if you would live under the same circumstances as the original family. Sometimes it's not easy to obtain information, or people do not want to talk about it. But is this wrong, or is this part of the culture? But for now, I can assure you that we are a happy family, that we are happy with everything that happened. We now have a large family, and actually we are now the parents of 2 adoptive children, and the parents of 4, well, you could call it extended siblings on Eline's side, and 1, which is a foster sister on Annelie's side. So we have kind of 7 kids now, and we are really very fortunate.
The family was living in the countryside of Chongqing municipality, but they were treated like outcasts. I mentioned before, wanting a daughter, needing a son, was so important for them. They were not accepted in their family because they only had girls. Also for the community, this was a problem. When we started to work with a journalist, their story was told in the newspaper. Everyone knew from that moment on that this family had relatives abroad. They became more and more a normal member of the community and better respected. On the other hand, they still feel responsibility for their own lives. Father still works as a migrant worker in Chongqing. Mother takes care of the farm and raises the children. She is able to live with her children close to school, which is another town than their farmhouse. They do not ask us for help. They know we will help the children with their school education, and they do not want anything more. They are grateful to know how it is going with our daughter in the Netherlands. They do not want her back. They do not put any pressure on us whatsoever. On the other hand, they appreciate what we are doing, and they hope that their children will grab the opportunities which are offered. They have high expectations for Eline, but also for the other children in China. Sometimes this is too hard for their second daughter, Lu. She does not really how to handle this. I try to tell her she has to do her best and not to worry at all. They also hope Eline will learn to speak the Chinese language so that they can communicate in a better way. Because their school education is not of a high level, they do not have the belief that they can also learn the English language. When we first met the birth parents, they said they did not want to have their daughter back. Their idea is that Eline has to be loyal to us as parents, that she will have a better life at our place. But I realize that when she would have been raised in China by their birth family, she wouldn't have known better. They would have done their utmost to raise her well, but the guilt they feel was so hard to see. When we had to say goodbye for the first time, it was hard for me as a mother. I took away that child again, and at that moment, I felt a lot of guilt. But I also promised myself to come back as soon as possible.
Well, how is all this for Eline? Searching for birth parents is something you have to do when you think it's in the best interest of your child. For us, we started to search for her because Eline really wanted to find out who her birth parents are. Did she change? And what does it mean for her? Before she found her birth parents, she could be so emotional, yelling and screaming. She had so many questions and worries. That made us worry a lot. How would the fact that she did not now know her birth parents affect her when she would become a teenager? Now I believe these issues do not live in her anymore. She knows what happened, okay. Sometimes she worries about her family, but not with these heavy emotions. She reacts more like any other teenager who is born in the Netherlands. And she feels free to ask us about her family. If there are other matters, I do not ask myself if this has to do with adoption. Is this because she feels bad about adoption? When I compare her with the siblings in China, I see so many similarities in her character that I know that Eline is just who she is. She looks like her mother and father and sisters in appearance and behavior. And sometimes a child is just who she is.
I do not worry if I should have adopted her, or if she's not happy, or if she wants to know more. I can see her as a person with a complete story, who has two sets of parents, one here and one in China. She speaks frequently to everyone that she is adopted, that she has found her birth parents. She also tells us that she does not have the intention to live with her birth parents. When we were discussing this matter, where she had to live when she was found her birth parents, she also said, "Mom, if I would living here, if I would living there in China, I would miss you all. And when I live here, I will miss my family in China." And at that moment, she was only 7 years old. Many people did not agree with us concerning this birth parent search. They told us that a child of that age could not handle such a situation. We had to wait till she would be an adult, because Eline's emotions were not as we told them they were. But we saw Eline suffering. A part of her heart was still in China. And we as parents wanted to be her whole, to be a complete person. We have another life now. We are not only the parents of Elina and Annelie, but our family is more and more extended. We are glad that we are able to do this search for the sake of our daughter. We believe that every child should have the opportunity to have details of their birth family. And if they have the need to have contact with them, that this can be realized. But this has to happen with the respect of all the people involved, in the family of origin and in the adoptive family, no matter how young or old they are. Also, we are grateful for all the help we receive to support other children in China. Help from Western people, but also help of the Chinese people. We want to thank you for your attention. And please, if you have questions, feel free to ask.